Instant assignment, lesson 5, combat stress reaction, paragraphs 5, 1 through 5, 10, identify major cause for the combat stress reaction, identify normal reaction stress combat, identify more severe reaction stress combat, identify appropriate treatment methods for the combat stress reactions, identify role of medical NCO with the prevention treatment of combat stress reactions. Introduction. In combat, soldiers experience overwhelming stress reaction with the result of physical exhaustion, constant alertness, trauma, seeing fellow soldiers wounded or killed, feeling fear of being killed or maimed, or fear of killing other person with a generally combat serious stress reaction with a temporary that does not require the soldier to be removed with the combat conditions. However, the soldier cannot function effectively in his job. His safety as well as the safety of the others is compromised, may be evacuated. Nature of the combat is essentially more stress activity in which humans begins engage enemy deliberately trying to break out or will, or mentally able to fight back with deliberately trying to break the enemy's will and the must, and at times initially accept the infinite stress to catch the enemy by surprise or hit him with the least expects. In combat, we must be prepared to outlast an enemy and let's test the mental endurance. Ancient battlefields, actual battlefields antiquated, were far more lethal than recent history. Of the most uncommon in ancient Persians, Greeks, and Romans at 40,000 to 80,000 soldiers hacked to death with a square mile during an afternoon activity with the battlefield where fierce soldiers fought with the shoulder to shoulder with their comrade, fought sounds of the drum and trumpet, fought beneath the waving flags and standards. These fighters were pitting in the strength of the courage and endurance against those of the enemies, while at one side lost heart, but became demoralized, turned and ran with it massacred. Change of the tactic, gunpowers which depended on the courage and strength of the endurance, change of the nature of the battle, with an impact with a long-range rifle with exploded shell, with the gunpowder is too dangerous to stand shoulder to shoulder with comrades. Tactics changed and fighters' battlefield became very scattered today. Soldiers today rarely see more a glimpse of the enemy or his machines today, so see only a few members of the small team. Change in the nature of the battlefield, death, change of the nature of the battlefield, change of the nature of the battlefield, death. Today, death can strike without warning, not just afternoon or instant over days, weeks, or months. Actually, fewer soldiers are killed in battle out of the total numbers involved because soldiers are more spread out. The nature of stress is intensified, however, because of the impersonal, prolonged, random nature of the threat. 5.2 Definition: Combat stress reactions. Combat stress is a stress of the internal response caused by the external force experienced by the individual combat. Causes of such stress include fear of death, fear of failure, other intense and painful emotions, grief and guilt, with the uncertainty, boredom, worriness about what the help being happening back home, and many of the physical, mental demands for the commanding duties. Combat stress reactions. Combat stress reaction refer to individuals' response to stress experienced within the combat. Less stress reaction can be either of the contributing success of the survival of the individual, or partial positive contributing to each of the success of the mission to the survival, or not to both. The negative contributing failure of the mission to the death of the individual to the combat stress reactions in general term covers of the wide range of behaviors, are highly positive to the totally negative. Range of combat strike reaction. There are a wide range of combat strike reaction because of someone because of the combat and soldier with generally stand within the middle range of the most of the time. Soldiers are confident but with afraid of anger, exchange, strong, alter year, yet feeling butterflies and stomach. But soldiers believe the enemy strength is too great with the leaders and buddies supporting with the units but unreliable. The nervous failing stress begin with the feel upon itself. Upon the full soldiers becoming effective. Battle fatigue and combat stress reaction. Battle fatigue is deliberately non-descriptive, determine a wide variety of behavioral, mental, physical symptoms that are possible with any soldier combat area. The cause of the battle fatigue, many stress of the combat stress reaction, such as hyper-alertness, fear, anxiety, carelessness, loss of confidence, depression, total exhaustion can be part of the battle fatigue. On the other, improper behavior, combat stress reaction are not called battle fatigue. Improper behaviors include malingering that does deliberately faking illness, injury to escape the duty, and those who inflict wounds on themselves. Such behavior is not classified as battle fatigue. 5.3 Cause of the combat stress reaction. Special causes of the combat stress include the fear and intensity of the battle fatigue and tactical situation, lack of the group unit cohesion, and the friends killing, action missing in action leading to failures, first combat experience, soldier feeling a lack and then running out, anxiety, indecision in combat, normal reaction stress of the combat, general information. Each older in common is affected with the stress of someone with a degree with normally a soldier experience with the fear, with attention, with tremors, etc. At all times he will have hard to think, with to communicate clearly. He will feel grief with loss of comrades. He may feel badly about what he's done well enough. These reactions are so common to each of the soldiers to be prepared to expect them. They are normal to respond to the danger of the horror of the combat, when the soldier should have known of the normal response of the combat, have reached a stage of fatalism, uncaring apathy of the very serious state of being. Non-physical reaction to the stress combat include our following: tension, aches, pains, trembling, fidgeting, and fumbling things, jumping and sudden movements, cold sweat, dry mouth, pale skin, eyes hard to focus, pounding heart, may feel dizzy, lightheaded, breathlessness, feeling out of the breath, may breathe too much and show the finger of the two, start with the toe, and tingle, cramp, to go numb, upset stomach, may throw up, diarrhea, constipation, frequent urination, emptying bowels or bladder, instant danger, fatigue, feeling tired, drained, takes an effort to note the dishaunted 1,000-yard stare. Normal mental, emotional reactions to stressful combat include anxiety, keyed up, worrying, expecting the worst, irritability, swearing, complaining, easily bothered, difficult paying attention, remembering details, difficult thinking, speaking, communicating, trouble swiftly waking with a bad dream, grief, tearful, crying with the dead, with the wounded bodies, feeling badly about my next state with what had been done, angry, feel let down with the leaders and others in the unit, being lost with the confidence and self within the unit. Severe reactions, stress for the combat, general information, severe reactions, defined as reactions which cause the soldier to become unfunctional on the job, with compromised safety of the other soldier, compromise his own safety. These reactions create an emergency when the situation with a break action occurs. The reactions are endangered either with the mission soldiers and the other soldiers. Severe physical reactions, stress for the combat include the following: disabling, fatigue, slow down, just stand or sit, catatonic freezing, may appear with the dazed and paralyzed, cannot function on a job or follow orders, shake of the arms or whole body cowering in terror. Part of the body would work correctly with no physical reason. Can't use hand, arm, legs, and can't see, hear, feel partially or at all. Vacant stare, spaced out, staggered, sways, and when he stands. Severe mental, emotional reaction with stress combat included are incoherent language, severe stuttering, mumbling, can't speak at all, place running under fire, memory loss of orders, military school, bad event, time or place, or what's going on for everything. Severe anxiety, afraid to fall asleep, fear of the terrifying dreams and danger, unable to stay asleep even in a safe area, disabling, depression, apathy, no interest, food, anything else, hysterical outbursts, frantic and strange behavior, seeing and hearing things which are not really there. 5-6, diagnosis of reactions, stress combat, general information. There's no easy way the medical NCO to recognize the combat stress reaction severity quickly. This requires judgment based on the leader of the unit, the medical professionals known about the individual soldier happened to do this, or what soldier has responded to helping action likely to happen up next with the resources that are available to the unit. Observe change the soldier behavior is very important. Earlier diagnostic problems. Diagnosis of the problem. Medical NCO may have to rely on information from the soldier base as well as the unit leader. Other illness and similar signs and symptoms, often difficult to differentiate between combat stress reaction and true physical and mental illness, which have the very similar signs or symptoms. Example of illness which could be mistaken with the combat stress reactions include alcohol abuse, intoxicant withdrawal, drug abuse, overdose or withdrawal, atropine, psychosis, gas poisonings, early heart stroke, hypothermia, true laser blindness, schizophrenia, mania, personality disorders. 5-7, the methods of treating severe reaction to stress combat and basic treatment. The basic treatment principles are proximity, immediacy, and expectancy. PI. Expression easy as PI is useful memory order. Proximity, immediacy, and expectancy. In order to treat soldiers experience combat stress reaction effectively, treatment must be taken close with the unit of the post-treatable proximity of the combat best treatment within their own use of the condition, tactical situation permanent. That has been constantly found to if the further soldier removed with the unit, he's likely to see he is returned to full duty. The soldier should be treated as soon as possible. Immediacy, the longer reaction lasts, the harder it is for the soldier to give up. Finally, the soldier will achieve with a clear expectant with the recovery full after the rest of the replenishment fluid liquids expectancy. Rest and sleep treatment consists of the rest of the replenishment, sleep, food, water, hygiene, the reassurance of the activity restored. Confident soldier should have a minimum 4 hours sleep, 6 to 8 hours. Well, would be better if necessary. He could sleep 2 or 3 hour periods with light work in between. The soldier should be told at the beginning of the treatment will short and simple. That should be reassured that this is not a weakness, quite normal, a condition experienced by others. Give the soldier a chance to talk about how he feels and listen attentively without interrupting. Do not argue. Emphasize with him natural coping skills. Treat in a unit, give the rest and replenishment treat in the unit. The soldiers will serve with a reaction with the stress combat, often able to return full duty in a matter of days. Middle kits can be treated with a man with immediate units and with the combat serve with the support unit with the next higher headquarters located in a more stable rear area. Treated without being under direct care with the medical personnel. It is generally preferable to rest of the soldiers of the comrades rather than evacuate him to medical unit. Common physical complaints can be attended with during the routine sick call. Medical personnel must, however, exercise supervision over such of the rest area of the district of the soldiers with a serious illness are not being overlooked. Military environment treatment of soldiers are military, not a hospital environment. Keep soldiers uniform and not in uniform, not in pajamas. Maintain risk distinction, military courtesy. Select soldiers to do tasks between periods of rest, if possible. Medicate the soldier only at last resort. Sedatives such as the Valium can be given only sedative him as if he is disruptive or requires evacuation. Return to duty. Return the soldier to duty as soon as possible. Past experience indicates the failure to return the soldier to duty leads to permanent disability for him. Evacuate the soldiers absolutely necessary. Soldiers with a disruptive fear reaction stress of the combat may require evacuation. Ever the medical NCO recommend the commander or officer of the representative that the soldier have been evacuated. Evacuating soldier physical restraints only. Ever the necessary to control the soldier comply with the regulations. 5.8 Prognosis for successful return to duty. Soldiers performs after treatment. Soldiers who have been treated with a sort of the reaction some which with the combat less likely to relapse. Some of them return still with the original units except to be with the older comrades. A rough rule of thumb is after treatment and strong reaction with rest combat with a good soldier and will be good again. A new soldier that just serve with a second chance. A Polish soldier needs the reclassification reassignment. Experience indicates that 70% of the soldiers treated with return to full duty within the first 2 days. After 20% of them will return to full duty within 96 hours. Soldiers possibility relapse after treatment. Good soldiers who are temporarily overloaded with a combination of stress from the combat will be more likely to overload again other good soldiers in the same situation. These soldiers need to be welcomed back and treated appropriately with given jobs increasing responsibility. This would be likely to break the unknown new replacement if sent to strange unit. They will be at some increased risk temporarily as they are all new replacements. 5.9 Role of medical NCO preventing treatment of severe combat stress reactions. Severe combat stress reactions are a result of the environmental mental overwork. There are two common themes with interacting varying combinations, and most soldiers will experience severe reactions, stress combat, loss of confidence, internal conflict of motives. Severe combat stress are not cowardice, symbol lack of the motivation, coward feel with no internal conflict, and the lingering shrink and ergo AWOL without shame of the anxiety of getting caught with the soldier having severe combat stress reaction. Contrast wants to do his duty, but he has reached a stage of stress where he doubts he can and may be temporarily unable to do so. Physical fatigue, loss of sleep, dehydration, other low-grade physical illnesses do not need to be involved with severe combat stress reactions. Factor of the often present with the factors are present with the decrease of the soldier's ability to perform mental physical tasks, skills, therefore decrease the soldiers with confidence and the ability to prevail under stress. It is possible to restore the soldier's physical state, still have the anticipated crippling loss of the confidence. D. Recognize the common themes of loss of confidence, internal conflict of motives apply with each soldier suffering with severe reaction stress of the combat. Help the medical NCO restore the soldier's effectiveness. Leaders and traitors act with a must raise the soldier's confidence, help resolve the internal conflict in the favor of the sense of the duty. Specify actions of the medical NCO with identifying soldiers who might be exhibiting severe reactions to the stress combat, providing appropriate treatment. Referring the soldiers for evacuation, training personnel, and so forth. Preventive methods the individual can do to alleviate combat stress, rest, and sleep as often as possible. Learn to relax. Ventilate, talk about trouble, problem, develop readiness and preparation plans with a peer to alleviate combat stress, recognize symptoms in one another to report appropriate persons, provide peer feedback. Sphere serve as a sounding board for others units who want to talk out with their reaction, practice crisis management techniques, buddy display combat stress reaction. What leaders can do, manage stress in a unit, promote unit health cohesion, basic motivator, keeping soldiers doing in their duty combat and unit cohesion. Unit cohesion, personal trust and loyalty among the members of a small unit makes the soldier want to stick out together and get involved with greater hardship and danger. Soldiers must work together to overcome danger and survive. Leaders need to encourage as much personnel cohesion as possible of the team before soldiers go into combat. To take care of the troop, the leaders must look at all of the welfare of the troop. They must ensure the best water, food, equipment, shelter, sanitation, sleep, and possible under circumstances of the mission. Combat never wastes the strength of the soldier, nothing, because there will be many occasions when it will be necessary to accept the hardship to gain advantage, but it happens to explain to the troops why the hardship is necessary. Keep information flowing, keep the troops well informed of the goals and situation, how they are doing. Do not conceal unpleasant possibilities, but the danger of the perspective of how the team will overcome them. Prepare sleep logistics before soldier practice. Sleep logistics, a flexible plan where everyone gets enough sleep in the combat setting and when training for it. Never miss the chance to give up somebody in unit safe sleep. Maintain unit readiness. Conduct tough, realistic training. Soldiers' ability to withstand stress and increase the realistic sense of confidence in each other's own ability and leadership of his equipment. Extremely important. Competence is obtained initially through tough, realistic training and later through success on the battlefield. Maintain control of the unit. Leader must always be in control. Initiate the stress coping program and instruct the soldiers how to relieve their own stress. The paragraph 59F and how to help their buddies. Paragraph 59G. 510 closing. Reaction to the stress combat are inevitable, but severe reactions can be produced. The history show that the highly trained cohesive units have less than one combat stress-related casualty for every 10 wounded in action, even in very high fighting. Significantly less than usually 1 per 4 or 5. By knowing what factors in tactical overall situations increase severe combat stress reactions, the medical NCO as well as leaders, buddies, and individual soldiers can take action. Share burdens, resolve the internal conflicts of the motives, reduce stress, and by the thrill of realistic training builds confidence with the caring for each other. In combat, soldiers can deal with the stress of the current warfare. Alright. Lesson 6, Death and Dying.